We know what's expected of us today. It's going to be a really hard struggle today.
In spite of the exhortations of temporary manager Don McCalman, probably the safest bet in British sport is that this soccer team's getting ready for a match they're going to lose. They're the players of Bradford Park Avenue, and the sports writers have run out of Saturday night cliches to describe them: lowly, humbled, disheartened. They're at the bottom of the 4th division, just as they have been for the past 3 seasons. And if they're still there at the end of this season, they'll have to apply once again for readmission to the league, and this time they might not get it. But that's in the gloomy future. Today's worry is that their chances of losing again are increased because they're playing the league leaders. Bradford Park Avenue's trouble is that for years it's been sucked down in the unforgivable whirlpool of failure. Bad results led to bad gates. They're now down to about 2,000 or 3,000. Bad gates means that you have an overdraft at the bank. So what do? You sell your best players to meet the bills, and that in turn leads to more bad results and more bad gates. And so it's gone on. About the only asset the club has at the moment is the ground itself, and it's impossible to put a figure on that because it depends on who wants to buy it. If you were to put the whole team up for sale in the Persian market of professional football, they'd probably fetch only about £25,000. But the club's in the red to the tune of £80,000. Not surprisingly, about a year ago, they appealed for help. Anybody who was prepared to put money in the club could have a seat on the board. But in Bradford, nobody wanted to know. One man, though, did. He runs the National School of Salesmanship in Manchester, Herbert Metcalfe.
For many years, I was on the committee of our local amateur team. I played as a youth. Then I had to leave it for some years through attention to the calls of business. Now I felt an urge to get back to it.
Would I be right in thinking that you've invested something approaching £20,000 of your own money in the club? What sort of...
I don't want to discuss what I've put into the club.
A lot of money, though?
No, I'll just say a fair amount.
However much money he's put in, you won't very often find Herbert Metcalfe in the ground. He's here today, but only for the 2nd time this season. And last season, he attended only 3 games.
3 last season? Oh, well, I thought it was more than 3 last season. But anyway, when I've not been attending matches, I've been at work on behalf of the club nevertheless, finding or trying to find suitable talent.
But if you're not seeing the players in action regularly, how can you assess their ability?
I have the report of the manager to start with. I can always get that by telephone. Then there are the press reports, which on the whole I accept as fair and reliable. Some people don't. Well, I do. And then, in addition, I sometimes, not every game, but sometimes have my own scouts watching them when I myself have got to watch some promising player.
Last season, in spite of poor results, there was a certain keenness about the place. The sort of keenness that made Maurice Garside, an ardent supporter, give up his job as a lorry driver and become the club's first full-time groundsman for 2 years.
The supporters, apart from raising money, which they've been doing for over 20 years to my knowledge, have been coming in volunteer in their own time all through summer. They've done the majority of the painting outside, Saturdays and Sundays, been coming in, staying well 9:30 at night to do this job. It would have been a very costly job for the club to pay for proper skilled men to come and do it. As far as I know, it's just a pity we haven't been able to give them anything back yet.
But the new season brought the same dismal story, the worst record in the history of the Football League. Bradford haven't won 1 of their last 62 away matches. Then 2 weeks ago, the latest crisis came. After another defeat, the team list went up on the notice board, but instead of being signed by Laurie Brown, the player-manager, Herbert Metcalfe's name was on the bottom.
And I said, if this team has got to go up, therefore it cannot carry my name. It would have to carry someone's. Well, it's very, very, very unusual in football that it will carry any director's name. Well, this has happened. Now, the thing is, that's gone from out of my hands.
Just to add to Bradford's troubles, 19 players all asked to be put on the transfer list as a protest against the chairman taking over Laurie Brown's job. Admittedly, all but 4 of them have had second thoughts and have withdrawn their application. Laurie Brown, though, has resigned as manager, although he's still a player, and his job's been taken over for the time being by his former number 2, Don McCalman.
That's it. Come on, Trev. Come on, close it up a bit. Yeah, it's a bit embarrassing at times. Laurie and I have always got along very well. We know one another very well for a number of years, and he does his training as hard as what the lads do. It's just as simple as that.
What's the feeling like between the players themselves, though?
There is a great spirit in the dressing room at the present time. In fact, the boys think that the tide has turned for us now, that we're starting to do something.
That may sound very well, but the simple fact is they're losing again, 2-1 this time. You may wonder what it is that makes normally hard-headed businessmen put their money into clubs like this, and what makes fans who could be watching First Division football just up the roads at Leeds, or have their choice of about 8 rugby league clubs around here, keep coming back for more punishment.
I don't know. I seem to remember Manchester United coming here in the cup when I first started coming with my father. They lifted me over the wall there, sat me on the track. There was that many people in here. I just got to be a Park Avenue and I wouldn't go anywhere else.
Speaking for myself, I regard it as regard football as the greatest game in the world, one of the best forms of genuine entertainment. I can only suppose that other businessmen feel the same way and thus feel the urge to take an active part.
Well, there they go, down the Swanee again, 2-1. Perhaps in any other sphere this club couldn't possibly survive, and perhaps they don't deserve to survive on their record. But maybe the one pleasant, even touching thing about the whole sad story of Bradford Park Avenue is that in this materialistic age you can sometimes be an all-time loser and somebody still loves you.